sorry I don't do them as often as I'm sure some of you would like. I try to do one once a month, but they require a lot of work and a lot of planning. So anyway, getting off track here. I thought that I would combine the two in this video and read you some facts about true crime in general, true crime cases. The article that I found mainly talks about like really old, like some of the first true crime cases. And I know that a lot of you, like me, like the older cases, which I think I'm gonna do another one of those soon. So I thought this could be really interesting. Before we get started, though, I meant to do this first, and I forgot. I, as some of you know, work with Happiness Boutique pretty often, a couple times a year, and they always send me some jewelry pieces that I can pick and try out and stuff, and I want to share them with you. I know a lot of you tend to ask sometimes where I get the jewelry that I'm wearing. It's not always from here, but this is one of the places. So they send their things in this cute little box. This Happiness Boutique, I believe this is a German company, and I will show you what I got this time around. I got 2 necklaces and a bracelet. So this necklace, I'm probably going to have to take it out of the packaging. This is, I believe they call them Y necklaces because they're shaped in a Y, almost like a rosary type shape. But it's just sterling silver. I'm wearing gold today, but normally, as you guys probably can tell, I wear more silver than anything. I'm not gonna untangle it right now. Oh, well, it's not that tangled, but there you go. You kind of get the idea. That's what it looks like. So you can adjust it with this little adjustable band here, and it just sits on your chest. It's very delicate, it's very dainty, which is usually my style, and I really like it. I think they had it in gold too, if you're more of a gold person. So there is that necklace. I've only worn that once, but I really liked it. This next necklace I've worn a few times, so I think I threw the box away already. And it has this pendant on it, like that. It's the same on both sides. And again, it has that adjustable chain, and it just sits right there. It's very nice. It's different, but it's bigger and like big enough where you can like see it from a distance. I've been wearing it with like sweaters and stuff like that. So I really like this. And again, most of their pieces they have like in silver and gold and rose gold. So it just depends on kind of what you like. My last one, I don't have it with me, and I'm so mad at myself. But it's a bracelet. It's a gold bangle bracelet. I'll leave the link so you can see it anyway. But it has like leaves on it, and it sits nice and firm. It doesn't move up and down. It's like a cuff, and it has gold leaves on it, and it just like, it looks like a vine like wraps around your wrist. It's so pretty. So I'll leave the link down there to all 3 of those things. So if you want to see them for yourself, I will leave a link to Happiness Boutique so that you can pick what you want. And there's also a 10% off coupon code that's valid for a certain period of time. I'll have all the information written down there for you guys, so don't even worry about it. For those of you who have absolutely no interest in anything that I was just saying, now we can get started with the facts. Okay, so originally I was gonna film today the part 2 of the conspiracy theories because a lot of you really liked that video, but then I came up with this idea and I was like, let me do this first. But part 2 of the conspiracy conspiracy theories is coming, I promise. And I'll pick a different website because I know a lot of you had problems with the website that I picked. This one is from fascinate.com. This article was written by Matthew Burke, and it's titled 42 Gruesome Facts About True Crime Cases. So basically, the intro just says, like, out of all these horrible things that these people do, even though their crimes make our stomachs turn, we somehow can't help but feel fascinated by them. Leave your lights on for this one, because here are 42 disturbing facts about true crime throughout history. Alright, let me move this a little bit closer. And here we go. Alright, so we're gonna go backwards. It starts with 42. So 42, read all about it. We may tend to think of the most barbaric crimes as a modern phenomenon. That's not true. In fact, one 19th century book titled Lives of 12 Bad Men, Original Studies of Eminent Scoundrels by Various Hands, details famous and ghastly murders which happened as early as 1536. Notable figures from the book include Matthew Hopkins, a self-styled witch-finder who hanged more than 300 women, and Lord Lovat, a kidnapper and rapist. Lovely. 41. Big and Little. Micajah, Big Harpy, and Wiley, Little Harpy, were brothers or cousins, or maybe both, who left Scotland for the United States in 1759. Starting with politically motivated raids on the homes of American patriots during the Revolutionary War, the devious duo soon escalated to cold-blooded thrill killing. The Harper brothers even had a macabre calling card, I don't know what that is, that would disembowel their victims and replace their organs with heavy stones. Okay. 40. Still talking about the brothers. The Harpe brothers killed at least 39 people in Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, and Ohio from 1797 to 1799. America's history of violence might have started here. The pair were the first serial killers in the United States, at least as far as anybody knows. Should I try to do a true crime video on them? If I can do enough research, that seems interesting. 39. The Cannibal Clan. It's said that Sawney Bean lived in a dank secret cave in western Scotland. He and his wife begat an incestuous clan who, for 25 years, ambushed travelers roaming Scotland's west coast. The Beans would bring their victims back to their cave to kill, dismember, and eat them. As the story went, the clan would pickle any leftovers that they couldn't eat, but occasionally nearby villagers would find body parts washed up on the shore. Whether or not the story of Sawney Bean is historical or mythical is debated, so it's hard to say how true of a true crime story it is, but it was well known enough to serve as the inspiration for the 1977 horror flick The Hills Have Eyes. I haven't seen that. I don't like horror movies, believe it or not, but I've heard of that. 38. A penny for your thoughts. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, only 42% of violent crime is reported to authorities. Of that 42%, only 46% of cases are cleared. Therefore, less than a quarter of violent crimes get solved. 37. Targets. Certain killers, like the Johannesburg killer and Brazil's Rainbow Maniac as killers, who targeted and gruesomely murdered gay men. In fact, these two killers others are still at large. I don't know when this was written, by the way. 36. Poison abound. In 1922, 997 New Yorkers died of poisoning. The likelihood that these were murders is extremely high because forensic testing for poison was not widely practiced in police investigations, and because coroners could easily be bribed, a person might commit dozens of poisonings completely undetected. 35. Mike the Durable. Michael Malloy was an alcoholic ex-fireman. Like a lot of people in the 1930s, he was down on his luck. So were 5 of his buddies. They all took out separate life insurance policies on Malloy and plotted to kill him. They tried poisoning him, drowning him, freezing him, even running him over with a taxi, but nothing worked. By this point, Malloy had become a celebrity among police and paramedics for his ability to cheat death, so when the Murder Trust finally succeeded in gassing him with carbon monoxide, police were swift to act. Mike the Durable became a Bronx legend, and his buddies were sent to the electric chair. That is one of the worst things I've ever heard. 34. Role reversal. Imagine a serial killer's victim. Do you picture a woman? Movies tend to cast women as the victims, and certainly some of the more lurid crimes tend to involve female victims, but it might surprise you to learn 53.8% of serial killing victims are men. 33. Choose your friends wisely. Only 15% of serial killers' victims are chosen at random. That means 85% of victims were specifically chosen. Add that to the fact that nearly 50% of serial killers list pleasure as their primary motive in murder, and it makes for some very creepy math. 32. Murder after the fact. In 1966, Charles Whitman committed one of the most shocking crimes in American history when he opened fire from the clock tower of the University of Texas in Austin. Whitman killed 14 people before he was gunned down by police. But more than 3 decades later, a 15th person was added to Whitman's list of victims. David Gumby was shot in the kidney and spent the rest of his life on dialysis before succumbing to his injuries in 2001. Though Whitman died that day in 1966, he was found responsible for Gumby's murder 35 years after the fact. 31. A growing problem. Mass killings are on the rise. The 5 deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history have all occurred in the last 10 years. Again, I don't know what year this was written, but 30. The golden age of serial killing. The good news is serial killings are in decline. In the 70s and 80s, nearly 400 people were confirmed murdered by serial killers. Compare that to just 61 from 2000 and 2001. 29. The Year of the Damned. The BTK killer, the Green River killer, the Sunday morning slasher, the Casanova killer. What do they all have in common? Besides being brutal murderers with ominous pseudonyms, they all began killing in 1974. John Wayne Gacy murdered his second victim that year as well. 28. Sticks and stones. When we give nicknames to serial killers, we may accidentally alleviate them to mythic status, turning them into romantic figures. This is probably not the case with Robert Nixon, who received the moniker the Brick Moron. 27. Native Son. There was nothing funny about the crimes Nixon was accused of, beating 5 women to death with a brick. So why did Nixon get such a lousy nickname? Racism, probably. write his classic novel, Native Son, about how a society of hatred and oppression inevitably produce a man capable of terrible crimes. 26. Keep an eye on him. Charles Albright got a lot of media attention for the murder of Shirley Williams, who was found dead with both of her eyes missing. Albright was also charged, though never convicted, with 2 other murders where the victims also had their eyes removed. His disturbing post-murder ritual earned him the nickname the Eyeball Killer, but despite a distinctive ritual and a snappy nickname, Albright is not classified as a serial killer. 25. The criteria. The FBI considers a serial killer any person guilty of 2 or more separate murders. So while it seems likely Albright had other victims, since he was only convicted of 1 murder, he just misses the cut. One can't help but feel if he hadn't been caught when he was, he would almost certainly be considered a serial killer today. 24. Convoy of killers. The highway truck stop, a place where 2 strangers might briefly interact and then never see or even think about each other again. This makes them the perfect lurking place for serial killers. The FBI has noticed an irregular number of killings happening along highways and has launched a special initiative to fight back. The Highway Serial Killings Initiative. That's what it's called. 23. Success. The Highway Serial Killings Initiative has paid off. Recent arrests have closed more than 30 murders related to highway killings. A good start, but there are still 500 to go. 22. Orange socks. One example of a highway killing is that of Orange Socks, an unknown young woman found at the side of Interstate 35, named for her distinctive footwear. Serial killer Henry Lee Lucas confessed to the killing, but his confession is in doubt given that's not correct English. His confession has in doubt given contradictions in his statement, and the fact that he would have been in Florida at the time that was written so wrong. Anyway. 21. Life in prison. Despite the 11 other murders Lucas was found guilty of, and the 3,000 he claimed, only the Orange Sock murder carried the death penalty. Lucas later recanted the confession and had his sentence commuted to life in prison. 20. They let him walk. In 1978, Lawrence Singleton raped a 15-year-old hitchhiker named Mary Vincent. When he was done, he cut off her forearms with a hatchet and threw her off a cliff. Miraculously, Vincent managed to crawl up the cliff and attract the attention of a passing car. Oh wow. She was taken immediately to a hospital and managed to survive, though with horrific wounds both within and without. Despite her testimony, Singleton only served 8 years in prison for the crime. Nope. He was arrested again in 1997, this time for murder, and was sentenced to death, in large part because this time he was caught in Florida rather than California. They don't mess around over there. 19. A dead language. John George the acid bath murderer, earned his nickname for his practice of dissolving the bodies of his victims in acid. His shoddy Latin had led him to believe the legal phrase corpus delicti. That's wrong, but I said that wrong, but whatever. It translates literally to body of the crime. It meant that without a body, he couldn't be charged with the murders. In reality, it simply means that a crime must be proven to have occurred before someone can be convicted. He was hanged in 1949. 18. Back to the drawing board. When Richard Ramirez's crimes was known as the Night Stalker. 17. The Volunteer. Carla Homolka and Paul Bernardo were both convicted of the rape and murder of 3 young women, including Homolka's own sister. While Bernardo remains in prison, Homolka was released after just 10 years, in large part because she agreed to a plea deal before the extent of her participation in the murders was known. She currently lives under an assumed name in Quebec, where she volunteers at a local elementary school. Well, that's good. 16. A chilling fact. Oh, my back hurts. The FBI keeps a list of serial killings by state. While the list of serial killers per capita consists mostly of states in the Southwest, it's cold, snowy Alaska that takes the top spot. Wow. While there have only been 51 serial killings in the history of the state, that's nearly 16 people per million. That's Maya in the hallway. I have my door closed so she can't come in here. 15. The Butcher Baker. More than half of Alaska's serial murders took place in the 1980s and 90s. The rest belong mostly to Robert Hansen, a baker who tortured and murdered at least 17 women from 1971 until his arrest in 1983. Hansen might have had as many as 30 victims. 14. The Doctors Are In. 2 murderers share the nickname Dr. Death: Maxim Petrov and Harold Shipman. Petrov, a Russian physician, broke into his patients' homes and used anesthesia for the purpose of robbing them, and soon escalated to delivering lethal injections. Shipman, a British general practitioner, injected as many as 260 of his patients with a lethal chemical cocktail. Shipman forged wills for many of his victims, leaving himself large sums of money. Jeez. Somehow this went undetected for decades. As far as confirmed victims go, Shipman is reckoned to be the most prolific serial killer in history. 13. Mad Scientist. Oh, I'm not going to be able to say this name. 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓬𝓪 used his experience as a Soviet soldier and police forensics expert to avoid Ukrainian authorities for decades while he murdered more than 100 people. His expertise allowed him to frame others for his crimes. He even attended funerals of some of his victims. 12. Mind the Traffic. Joel Rifkin murdered 17 women in just 2 years, making him the most prolific serial killer in New York history. He might never have been caught if not for a routine traffic stop. Police tried to pull him over for expired tags, but he fled. After crashing his car, he admitted to having a dismembered body in his trunk. 11. Card-carrying creep. Overwhelming DNA evidence helped convict Aaron Key of the rape and murder of 3 women in the 90s. While in prison, Key made a cottage industry of describing his violent sexual acts on 5x7 cards and selling them on the internet. It seems like some people have few boundaries they won't cross to fulfill their true crime fetish. Ew. Ugh, there are lines, people. There are lines that we do not cross. 10. The Gallows. From his teenage years onward, Wayne Allen Dodd was in constant trouble for sexual harassment and the molestation of children, and his behavior only escalated over the course of his life. In 1933, Dodd was convicted of the rape and murder of 3 young boys. Convinced he could not be rehabilitated, Dodd requested the death penalty. Given his choice of execution methods, Dodd chose hanging, as it 2009, the bodies of 8 women have been found in a swamp in Jefferson Davis Parish, Louisiana. Their killer has never been found, but accusations of misconduct directed at the police department have left some locals with an uneasy feeling. Could the killer be one of their own police? That's a terrifying thought. 8. The Las Vegas Massacre. The largest mass murder in the U.S. history happened on October 1st, 2018. During a concert in Las Vegas. I remember this, I'm sure most of you do too. Gunman Stephen Paddock killed 58 people and injured another 851 more before turning the gun on himself. From the first shot to the last, Paddock's massacre took less than 10 minutes. I remember that. That was when I first started working at the news station. You can imagine how crazy it was. I will never forget that. 7. The Little Girl Strangler. Mary Bell spent her formative years in a dysfunctional and abusive home in 1960s England. Her difficult childhood would eventually manifest itself in horrific fashion. Mary was just 10 years old when she strangled 4-year-old Martin Brown. A few weeks later, she killed again, strangling and mutilating a 3-year-old named Brian Howe. She was so little, her hands left no bruises on the throat of Brown. She was caught and spent her teenage years in prison before being released in 1980 at the age of 23. She has been living under various pseudonyms ever since. 6. In the Nick of Time. For years, Toronto police ignored concerns that a serial killer was targeting the city's gay community. In 2018, however, they caught Bruce MacArthur red-handed with a man restrained to his bed. Police soon uncovered 6 more bodies buried on land associated with the Toronto killer. 5. He'd been there all along. Most serial killers begin killing in their 20s. Given his age, one expert suggests the MacArthur has probably been murdering people. My gosh, who wrote this? This is supposed to say, given his age, one expert suggests that MacArthur has probably been murdering people since the mid-1970s. It's just no one had noticed. Oh, this one's a long one. 4. The Baby Farm. Oh, I don't even know if I want to read this one. Amelia Dyer was a 19th century baby farmer in England. She ran a home for unmarried pregnant women where she would care for them and their children, helping the infants find a home. All for a fee, or so she said. When a bargeman found a tiny corpse floating in the Thames, it was wrapped in a paper with Dyer's address on it. At her house, they found another 50 corpses. That was just the tip of the iceberg, however. Dyer had been committing her crimes for nearly 30 years, and it's believed she killed more than 300 children, making her one of the most prolific serial killers in history. The indifference English society held for unmarried single mothers at the time ensured that Dyer could get away with her atrocities for so long. I'm going to show you this picture of her. She's absolutely terrifying. Gosh. Come on, focus. Okay. 3. 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪. I probably said that wrong, but 17th century French sorceresses Catherine Monvesson wore many hats. She eked out a living as a fortune teller, abortionist, and general magician for hire. Many sorceresses at the time also sold poisons, a natural extension of the love potions and truth serums they produced. The only difference was the poisons worked. 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪, as Monvesson became known, was allegedly responsible for 2,500 deaths before the law caught up to her. 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪 ended up embroiled in the affair of poisons, a scandal in the court of Louis XIV, it's written in Roman numerals, I think it's the 14th, where members of the aristocracy, were implicated in poisonous plots. The police knew that fortune tellers dealt in poisons, and they arrested 𝓢𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪. She was convicted of witchcraft and burned at the stake. 25 active serial killers in America right now. 1. Unpleasant dreams. Researchers at the Murder Accountability Project disagree. According to their study, the number might be as high as 2,000. Alright, those were actually more interesting than I thought they were going to be. Some very disturbing. But I hope that you guys enjoyed. This was something different. So I hope that you guys liked it. I can always do more if I find more. The part 2 of the conspiracy theories is coming soon, as well as the part 2 of the Sims Let's Play. It's been a little while, so I figured it's time to do part 2. That might actually be the next video that you see, so keep an eye out for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry that I messed up reading a lot. I'm tired and my brain is fried. So anyway, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next